Hey guys, what's up? It's Dan Weimer here, CEO of Morpheus.Network, here with another quick video for the community. Hope everyone's having an awesome day. It's the weekend for me actually, but the first couple weeks of 2020 have just been crazy hectic, crazy busy. Team's been doing amazing, working on so many different projects at once, really spinning lots of amazing plates. So, I've had a lot of questions from the community asking, these projects that we're working on, putting a lot of the time, where's the team efforts going? What's Ben working on specifically? What companies Carl working with specifically? Noah, myself, what companies are we working with? And fact remains that with a lot of these projects, we have contracts and NDAs in place, which don't allow us to talk about the fact that the NDA exists in the first place, let alone mention the companies that we're working with. So we do apologize about that, and I know that's a difficult thing to deal with as a community member, to say, hey, they have NDAs in place. They can't necessarily talk about these projects, but we'll give you as much information as we can. I'm extremely excited about it. And it's difficult for me not to talk about it to certain people, but within the team, we have everyone working hard on these amazing projects. And as it comes to also showing transactions on the blockchain itself, that's another difficult question to approach our clients and say, we want to take your proof of validation of transactions of your company's actual ongoings and put those out to our community to view. That's a difficult thing to request. What we could request, is obviously, like we've done in the past, we can run a workflow, a demonstration workflow that we can show to you guys as well. What I do suggest as well is that, the holders that we have in the community, an awesome thing you can do is look within your own networks. If you have a company yourself, or if you know somebody that has a company within your network, a company that's, let's say, does a lot of import and export. If they do any inbound, outbound shipping. It's a company in logistics, customs brokerage, a transport company, whatever it is. There's a lot of companies that we can help, obviously optimize, and with the tokens you hold, those utility tokens through the platform, it definitely gives you an edge up in already being able to, take advantage of those functionalities that are in place. So we implore, holders and community members to look into that most definitely. And those tokens, why is it important? So we look at the the modules that we're sort of completing as a part of a workflow. Every time a module completes, there has to have that validation that's written to the blockchain that workflow, the individual module has completed within the workflow. What type of modules am I talking about? We've seen them in the video demonstrations when it comes to, let's say, document generation. A module which generates the documents for a shipment itself. Let's say a module that would generate an invoice. A module that let's say would be measuring IoT pings for a trigger. A module that generates. We've seen a lot of QR code style modules as well. Right now, actually, we have an interesting project that's actually involving people talk about the QR codes. There's a little bit of confusion that we've invented a special QR code. Our QR codes are unique based on the functionality behind the QR code. It gives you access to the platform, gives you access to various functionality to scan a QR. Very easy to implement as well. That's why we love QRs. You just have to print it off, stick it on whatever you're shipping, or stick it on a document, and then using any smartphone or even an app when it comes to an iPhone, you can actually trigger that QR code. So very easy way to access the platform. We've seen a bunch of functionality when it comes to recording the latitude and longitude of scanners, using that to upload something like a signature for a proof of delivery, or a document, or anything you want to add as a part of that supply chain. But once again, that's just accessing the platform. So as I mentioned, the RFID implementation, the specific project, the QR code wasn't ideal based on what has to be implemented. Is going to have insulation on it and potentially get dirty as well. So a clear scan of the QR just wasn't possible in this case. So once again, an RFID would be used in its stead. But once again, the functionality behind the RFID is just the platform functionality. So we're just tapping into what we've built for, let's say, an advanced QR code scan. It could be an advanced RFID scan as well. We got to upload information. Obviously, with an RFID, you can't use an iPhone or anything like that to scan. But once again, the functionality behind it is more important in access to the platform, especially if it's something as simple as a handling coin as well, or something that can even retrieve documents that we're storing on IPFS to be viewed. So that's really interesting. So One thing people ask us as well, we've had a lot of questions in the community as well about how we're billing, how we build these clients. And besides obviously the initial implementation costs, getting training, getting the companies actually using the platform properly, then we have those SaaS-based fees. And what is it, when we mention SaaS-based fees, software as a service, how do we figure that? It's different for every single structure, and why is that? There's a volume-based fee. So, how many shipments, whether it's inbound, outbound, even if it's domestic, or how many workflows basically. So the amount of volume the company is using is one metric, and the other value would be the complexity or the type of shipments, or the type of workflows they're running, the functionality they require. So if IoT is needed, as I mentioned, we'd have to use a third-party IoT provider, and that'd be built into the cost. And then once again, your per workflow cost would increase. If we're looking at a border crossing, you need to use a customs broker or anything like that. The fees go up based on that as well. So you have your volume base as well as the level of complexity of the actual workflows. They can go down to something as simple as small package. We demonstrate our integrations with amazing small package carriers such as UPS and FedEx and DHL and various postal services around the world as well. Leveraging those systems as a part of an automated workflow for a company as well. That is a simpler sort of workflow and use case than something like an ocean-bound shipment that has IoT triggers and so on and so forth. So really interesting, thinking about the different levels of companies and how building would work as well. So that's sort of how, kind of a little more detail and on the granular level of what we look at when we're charging a company, based on volume and based on complexity of shipment. So, and that's basically everything I wanted to cover right now. The AMA, I mentioned doing a rolling AMA, and I noticed that the questions weren't being added to Reddit, so that was an oversight on my side. I should have been checking that more regularly. But yes, we'll get more questions answered for you guys, and these are just basic questions that I see in the actual community on Telegram and the channel. So I thought I'd sort of create a little video for you guys. And any further questions about current projects that I can potentially give you some more information on, I'd love to. Please ask any questions. I am open to anything. So once again, guys, appreciate all the support, and everybody, as always, have a good day.